Demanio lives. We were only 2 minutes late on air this morning. Twas a lovely day over the weekend. I got out a little, and it looks as if it's going to be a lovely day today because we've got a little filming to do later on. This is Rouser Radio. How Demanio can be. Rouser Radio out of Lewis. Starting off the morning with Buddy from Benson. Well, good morning, Keith Hayes. In Lewis, East Sussex, in the United Kingdom. Not Lewis in Delaware. But we very much like the people in Delaware, so if anybody in Delaware happens to be listening, a very good morning to you as well. But a good morning to those people who are starting to check in. I'm rather pleased when I look at the analytics that we've gone from 0 to 2, and now we're up to about 30 people who have checked in and listened to us. Very, very, encouraging, shall we say that, encouraging. Not easy in today's world. You know, in the old days, you had 3 or 4 radio stations. Well, there were 8 when I was in Vancouver. Most of my radio work was done in Vancouver. There were 8 stations, and they all vied for top spot. And in those days, it was a city of about 400,000. So I suppose that the competition wasn't too bad. Now, I'm one of about 5 million, I think. And believe me, it is not easy to persuade people to listen to you. And why should they? Well, perhaps because we're esoteric. We are peculiar British. And all the things that we're supposed to be come out in this radio station, believe me, and at our television station. We are, in the main, polite. We raise our hats to ladies as we go by. We say good morning very gently. I am not wearing my bow tie this morning, but I could. I am wearing my trilby hat and my scarf. And generally speaking, we look the part of being English. We look the part of being British. We look the part of being UK, with all the things that overseas people used to think we were. And of course, now we're a different nation. We're a nation of mixed races, of mixed ethnics, of mixed religions. And we should be proud of them all, except for those very extreme groups that create havoc and problems, not with us, but throughout the rest of the world. The stiff upper lip on, let's see, was it on Friday, I suppose? Yes, I actually walked past Buck House to see whether Her Majesty was there. It was rather late, so I didn't knock on the door. In fact, even the guards had gone to bed. So she didn't know that I was there. I'm sure she would have invited me in for a late cup of tea if I had. But Buck House still stands there as a symbol. I mean, it's an ugly building. It's Hanoverian, isn't it? I mean, it was George the Fourth. Was it George the Fourth? Yes, who decided to move into it and had it built. And of course, that period in the 1800s, late 1700s, early 1800s, they were rather severe and pompous, were they? No, they were not. They were rather naughty, in fact. It's behind closed doors. If you think, we think the Victorians were very prim and proper under Queen Victoria, the Georgians were very, very naughty. And the Prince Regent spent a lot of time in this town. Prince Regent, who went on then to be George IV, he spent a lot of time in this town, and he raised merry hell. He and his pals, of which, incidentally, one was a lady who had been married to a highwayman. He really did mix with all sorts of people. Another being a baron who was forever betting, and being a man of slight stature, would make incredible bets. He bet Lord Cholmondeley on one occasion that he could carry him piggyback around Old Stein in Brighton, Old Stein being the sort of the central green area, just leading down to the sea. It was a very fashionable area of its day, and the pavilion which the Prince Regent had built for himself very much is in the centre of it, and still today in very good nick, worth a visit, in fact. Anyway, I digress, because the Baron said when he met the man he was supposed to piggyback around Old Stein, "Sir, I said that I would carry you, not you and your clothes. Please strip before we carry out this bet." Lord Cholmondeley refused to strip in public and lost the bet. That's the sort of people that the Prince Regent would play around with in those days. And indeed, one of the great bets is that in Lewes we have a very, very steep cobbled hill, very ancient. It's still almost exactly the way it was in 300 or 400 years ago, and very difficult to navigate today. And the Prince Regent is said to have taken a coach and four and driven it down Keir Street for a bet. He'd have broken his neck if it had all come to a sorry end, and then history would have been changed. But anyway, that's the sort of people that who persuaded the architects to build for what we now affectionately in this country know as Buck House. Most people, of course, say Buckingham Palace with some reverence. And indeed, I have to say that it is a lovely location, because in the daytime you can walk up, well, I mean, you could in the night time, but a bit dicey, I think. You could walk up through St James's Park, which is, in my opinion, one of the loveliest parks in the whole of London. It's got a lake which stretches from Horse Guards Parade all the way down to just outside Buckingham Palace. It's filled with rare birds, swans, you name it. And on the odd occasion, when I've been tired or a bit dispirited, I've gone and renewed my, juices by sitting and watching everybody parade around the lake in St James's Park, and the flocks of birds go by. And it doesn't matter what time of year it is, because actually it's quite fun when the lake freezes over, seeing the birds crash land. They come into, they skid for yards after they get down. They seem to be used to it. They crash land rather beautifully. Right, okay, we've been talking for 8 minutes. My goodness me, that's dreadful. I did actually try to pick up some stuff this morning, and I'm not sure that I did. So let's go to something called Morning Dew and see how they play out. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Demanio lives. Here we go. Morning Dew. It's not Morning Dew at all. I don't know what's gone wrong there. Let's see if we can get it to play. Well, perhaps not everybody's cup of tea, but you can see what was going through the composer's mind. If you've ever been up so early in the morning, a summer's morning, and walked through open fields with the dew hanging onto the grass, beautifully poised, ready to drop, then you'll understand that piece of music, I suppose. Not something to break the day, perhaps, but pleasant enough. Pleasant enough. Now, will we ever learn? You know, it is very, very strange that our leaders put faith in we, the people. I'm the greatest Democrat that you've ever come across. I'm only exceeded by the fact that I'm a meritocrat as well. I believe that we should get the very best people to fulfill the posts, particularly public posts, and of course our system doesn't work that way at all. In fact, if anything, because we have ratios, some of this and some of that and so on, it works against us. We don't actually get people for their ability, we get for ethnicity. And it doesn't matter which ethnicity you're talking about. So don't anybody come back on me about whether there's any prejudice of any sort. There's prejudice of every sort. If people are square pegs in the round hole, there is no prejudice at all if people are capable of doing the job. We don't learn that to begin with, but those people that our Prime Minister said, I put my faith in the great British public. It's common sense not to do foolish things. Of course, immediately did foolish things. The people don't learn. Our leaders don't learn. They flocked to the parks. They flocked to the beaches. And although the lockdown program is slowly coming to an end and we're easing, so is the rate of coronavirus. Leicester is still locked down, but now the government has admitted that there are 100 other places in the country which are locked down, and there is a farm, I think it's in Hertfordshire, certainly somewhere in the home counties, that has got 74 people all in one place locked down because the virus is coming back. Now, I'm not an alarmist.